Sorry about that, everybody. Had a little technical problem. So here we go. Now, I'm going to talk. I will check out any comments or anything that pops up. Just kind of wanted to discuss and show this and have a just decent conversation about my setup system and how to do some basic reloading if you've ever been interested. I've talked about this a bit before. So we're going to hop over and I'll show you guys my setup real quick. Currently going to be working on some 300 blackout brass. But just in case, if you've ever been curious on reloading, what do you need, what do you don't need, just some of the basic stuff to start over or to start with, I'll kind of show you. So bear with me just for a moment and we'll get through this. Normal basic reloading. Yep, you're gonna need your brass. You're gonna need to get a decent press. The one that I'm running is a RCBS Rebel on a inline fabrication stand. This here is just a single stage press. You can get yourself a multi-turret stage, whatever you need. You will need to get yourself some shell holders for the proper caliber size along with your die. This system sits here on this one. I like it just because it's super simple, easy to use. A pull ram. And there we go. So, need a press, need your brass. Definitely gonna need some lubricant for your cases. And then getting into a few things. When you punch primers on your actual dies, they can be punched out here, or you can pick up a handheld unit and this will punch out the primer really well. This one does all the calibers that I need. So one of these works. If not, inside the die will actually have a decapping mechanism to punch out primers. They normally fall out down this way. Some different presses have a cup to hold it, and then just empty out the cup. You're gonna need yourself a scale. Now, as you guys can see, I've got a whole bunch of different stuff going on over here. I've got some notes for what we're going to be building. So if you're interested, I can get this thing to focus up. 300 blackout. I'm going to be loading up some 225s to kick off. Yeah, what's going on? But a basic scale. This here is another RCBS. You guys are going to notice I've got a lot of the green stuff here. So I won't talk about the Creedmoor scale just yet. That's more into my precision stuff. We're just talking basic how to get this done. Okay, so scale, press scale. Gonna need some powder, whatever you're gonna be loading with, and the system. So hop over here and I'll show you how easy this is to kind of get going. So I've talked about how to get these systems up and going, or what is needed, on here. And everybody always wants to know, like, where do you start? So if you're gonna get into reloading and you think it's for you, first and foremost, understand this is not gonna save you any money. Okay, buying brand new factory ammo from a good quality ammo manufacturer like Defiance Munitions or Hornady, Lapua, on those sides, yes, it's expensive. Reloading, what it's going to do for you is it's going to tailor your ammo needs to your rifle or to your pistol, whatever you're going to reload. It's going to tailor it. That's the only benefit I guess I'd say is you're going to tailor your ammo to exactly what you're shooting. And just so you guys know, that's my big one. That's my big precision. So I've got some other cases and stuff down here. All right, so getting into a press. You can spend $100 on a press. You can spend $1,500 on a press. It just depends on what you want. I have this one. You're talking like a $200-300 press, and it does what I want. You kind of need to spend your money on good quality dies. Like I said, you're going to see a lot of this green RCBS here with me. So I like these dies. They're two-piece, the one that's in the machine right now. And then this one, this is the cedar die for it. Okay, Mr. All right, Terrence. Hello. What's up? So buying dies is where the money's at. You'll spend a decent amount of money on dies. So I've got a few in here just for the stuff that I load. As you can tell, a few different sets. One thing I did upgrade in mine is I went to the carbon fiber, or the carbide tipped inserts, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So getting your setup, building a bench is not super expensive. You can literally mount that to any table you want. I like the inline fabrication just because it stands it up off my toolbox that I bolted it to. Simple, super stuff. So there's on that system. Getting into, you need a couple pans to hold stuff. You need a decent tumbler. If you're not familiar with how the tumbling system works, it takes a corncob material. Sometimes you use walnut shells or corncob husks. It's real fine, like bead blast material. You drop your dirty cases in here, let this run for an hour or two. It cleans them up. They come out looking like this instead of what they look like coming out of your firearm. This here becomes kind of the whole OCD and the tricky part. They don't tell you that you have to do a whole bunch of measurements and math to know how big the brass has to be and sizing and neck bumping shoulders. I'm going to do a few videos just to kind of talk and dive more into it. I just kind of wanted to hop on here tonight, kind of show you guys my setup, what I was doing, talk a little bit about it, answer some questions, and see if anybody else wants some more of these videos done. Getting into some of the terminology, there's really, really good YouTube people, like Ultimate Reloader. Gavin is really good at his info. Area 419's got some decent info. I'm sure Eric Cortina has a ton of videos. He's a world-class F-class shooter. You can understand the terminology better on that side of stuff. Getting into this, I'm just going to show you some of the basic things to look for and to do. Now, with my tools and equipment for trimming the cases, which is the difference of taking two of these, and if up here at the neck, if it is stretched out. When brass is fired, you guys can see I've actually got a work glove on, it actually elongates and stretches. So you do have to trim off the front here to make sure the overall size of the case is done. You have to clean out where the primer goes in the back. And you need to clean out the inside of it of any of the corncob material from polishing or anything that's left over. Now this can all be done by hand on hand tools, literally with a handheld brush and hand turning tools. Or what I've got sitting over here is a powered unit. That's the Frankfurt Arsenal. This right here is where the case goes into. You drop this in. There's a carbide wheel, basically a cutoff that's in here. I've got a few different attachments. These are all removable, but I've got one right here for cleaning. This cleans the inside of the case. This one cleans the pocket primer. And then this here is an actually extended rod, is actually designed to make sure the hole that's inside the case is uniformed and there's nothing inside of it that hasn't burned out or gotten damaged. So that's that. Coming over on this side for some extra stuff that I've got is an annealing machine. This here is a torch setup that's, on propane. Your cases line up on the top. You guys have probably seen some of my videos for it. It actually heats up the front side of the case and it softens the brass and makes it more malleable and takes some of the stiffness out of the case. Basically, this here is restructuring the metal and making it back to neutral instead of being case hardened on that side. So that's what this machine does. You don't have to have one, but investing in one of these machines will extend your brass life. I talked about it over here on the scales. You need a basic scale. This is a nice digital one. The powder goes in the top, it drops out. You can weigh it. Simple little weight measurement pans. I'm looking for the one I've got over here. I must have moved it. But this right here is the cup that it goes into. This is just a fancy cup that sits inside. The one I was talking about that's much more fancier and you'll spend a lot of money on is a medical grade scale. This does pounds, ounces, carat weights like for diamonds. It does grains and grams. So this particular is a Creedmoor scale from Creedmoor Sports. It's the one that I decided to go with because a couple of the other teammates that I shoot with have them, and if I had any questions or concerns, they could help me out on learning how to make this thing work. The difference between this scale and this machine as a scale, very simple. This one is in within 1/10 of a pound. This is in 1/100th of a pound, if you want to think of it that way. When this machine weighs out in powder grain weight or gram weight, it is within 1/10 of a percent. This machine can go down to 1/100th of a percent. So you can get a much finer, more precise weight on this one. So I use this machine to start my loadout, and then I check it with this one, and then with a very old-fashioned mechanical hand version, this gets filled with a powder. You spin this over and it drops out some of the granules out the tip, or you just take a pair of tweezers and you drop powder into a cup on that side. So this is the machine that I use when I'm shooting for like King of 1 Mile, setting up and going to be doing long range shooting. On the particular system that I'm doing right now, this one's close enough for shooting subsonics. So there's that. When I was talking about some of the math that you're going to need to reload, I will show you here on this one. And this is my big rifle, my big 300. Well, it's 300 PRC, and it's the joke it's 300 improved. But up here, you've got all the build out for what the rifle is, what we're doing. You have your case trim length, which is your casing, your actual brass casing, where it's supposed to be at. And then the shoulder on the side of it. On that one, so I can explain it a bit better, we'll grab one of those cases. Get this thing to pop up. Right here is the shoulder, okay? That's the measurement here. And there's a set of gauges and material. Basically, you can use yourself a mic, and then you'll measure, your overall. You measure from the top of the case to the shoulder, or you measure from the shoulder to the base of the case. There's some mathematics with this. A simple hand scale, measuring tool. This one here is a 6-inch version. I mean, you're talking a couple bucks for one of these. You don't have to buy anything super expensive. And then it's keeping notes and tracks of everything that's on here. And I make sure that I keep this updated. It was the last time I updated. And then it's for each cartridge that you're going to shoot, like these 178s. As you can see over here, they have an overall length OAL of 3.6 inches. And then if I make any adjustments in the seating depth, they just have to be under 3.6 inches. And that will change depending on which cartridge you go with. When I shoot my 225s, we're between 3.717 and 720. And then I have where the gun was liking it over here is what I've written down. And then again, that will change. I think I was shooting some 245s the other day. They are at 3.7. These numbers, you're going to have to always calculate your OAL for your bullet once you build out a round. So kind of the one thing that nobody ever talks about is you will have to keep notes. I built just an easy Excel spreadsheet, but trust me, I have plenty of hand data paperwork. This is for the last year This is everything I've been keeping track of with pen and paper. Simple stuff, but just keeping track of it. So there's that side. All right, well, a couple people have hopped on, said hi. Someone says, I love you so much. Different, but okay, appreciate it on that side. Well, I'm gonna load in here and kind of show you how this works. Like I said, this is just a kind of a basic setup for what I'm doing and to show you an idea. So we're gonna take these once fired. Let me turn this here. Can I use my gimbal, y'all? This is 300 blackout for the AUG. I'm going to be doing some shooting here in a couple weeks, so need to get a load developed for it. This is once fired. The only thing that's happened to this brass is we've deprimed it and cleaned it. I'm going to go through the sizing process right now, and I'll show you how easy it is and go through. So if you got any questions, say something, hop on here, and I'll answer them. We'll go through this. This was just kind of the startup. Like I said, if y'all are interested and want me to do some more of these videos, or if you think it's been done too much, that's fine. Just kind of giving me some idea. I'm showing you guys what I've been doing and learning over the last year for some upcoming shoots. So case lube is pretty simple. It is just a wax or a oil-based lubricant. Highly, highly recommend you run some type of lubricant. They make this in, basically it looks like wax in there, or they've actually got spray lubricant, which is like WD-40. It's a style like that. Don't ever stick dry casings into a dye. They get stuck. They become horribly to get out. I've done it one time because I didn't lube one up well enough, and it cost me a set of dyes. If you get into looking for what dyes cost, these are not these are a one-piece style dye. They're not a bushing dye. So this is a two-part system instead of a three-part system. But it cost me probably about $100, $150 for a new set of dyes. So we lubed up the case, stuck it here into the case holder. This dye is set up already for where I want it to be for these cartridges to be built. And it's pretty simple. Think of Las Vegas and a slot machine. We're going to load it up. We're going to go all the way out until it cams over and stops. That goes inside this body die and then is resized for the outer OD diameter, and then it resets the internal where the actual bullet goes inside and uniforms it. As you can see with this one, it's actually kind of dented. So that one's going to be dented. We'll fix this one in just a second. So the one that's inside, and then we just pull it back down. And you can see on this one, see how nice and uniformed, and it's done. Once you get into doing this, it's super, super simple. All right, so there's the one, like I said, it's kind of got a dent in it. A little lubricant on it. That's the reason I'm wearing a blue glove today. Go inside. There's a little bit of force on the handle. See, it straightens it back out. And that's it. This is a lot of rinse and repeat on this type of stuff. Like I said, you're not going to save money doing the reloading yourself. You're going to tailor ammo to your needs. The one thing it will do, well, if you have any free time, you'll end up doing what this is going to do probably for the next hour or so. I'll be in here resizing all of this brass. I'm going to clean all the lubricant off of it one more time, and then we're going to prime it and then get it set up to be filled with gunpowder, and then set the actual bullet into the case, and that'll make a live, new, ready to go round. The nice thing that I find with reloading, I don't find that I shoot more, but if you've ever been out to the range and you've got excited and you've mag dumped and you just burn through ammo, like the first time you get a 22, and you see that old man just cry in the corner who's shooting that really, really pretty rifle, He's the guy that was been doing hand loading for 30 years, and he just watched you in 10 seconds go through what he took 2 or 3 hours to build ammo. The one thing I've learned over the last year in educating myself on how to actually do reloading and do it properly is it slows me down at the range on the amount that I want to mag dump or just go waste ammo. I've come down and figured out that I wish to enjoy the shooting aspect of this a lot more and just not go shoot to shoot. Like, I go out now with more of a dedicated purpose. The amount of time it takes to go into a store and just use your credit card and buy ammo is super easy. Walk in, you're done, 30 seconds, you go load a mag, and you dump it. This here, I may spend, a couple hours in building some ammo to go out to the range, and I very, very much do not want to have the big happy trigger finger. So that's kind of where I'm at on this side. As you see, we can be pretty quick here, just going through some cases. Doesn't take a lot of lubricant. I'm literally just touching, getting some here on the glove, wipe it, and go through. So anybody that's watching, if you guys reload or do anything, kind of share the experience. Tell me what you think on this one. I met a young guy not too long ago that was just going to start getting into reloading and just really didn't have an idea of where to start. And then if you start doing the internet trick and go down on what tools do you need, you can buy kits. And when I say a kit, I'm talking like a reloading center kit. Hornady is probably one of the biggest manufacturers that really does the whole kit thing. They get you set up with the press. They get you set up with some type of scale or powder dispenser. They'll set you up with one of the shell holders. Basically, just kind of the entry level. You'll need 5 of these things. The big ones are like the books. There are reloading manuals. I find a lot of the companies that I use their powder, like Hogden, which is now the parent owner of RCBS. You don't have to buy the book. You can literally go online, go to their website, and you can fill in all the parameters of the cartridge, the caliber you're going to shoot, what bullet you want to use, and they will tell you what powders are available, and they give you a very decent starting gauge point for the novelist. They'll tell you how much powder goes in, what primer you're going to need, how much the charge weight's going to be, etc. They get you, all that information, and you don't have to buy the book. You just go to their website. Vitavori, which is a company I use, that'll be like your N130, N150 powder. It comes in a little blue jug. If you ever see it, it says N, and then it always has a number. I use a bunch of that. They have the same type of website, just like Hogden's. And they'll give you the same basic, how much powder to start, the maximum, what they say is safe. And you have to remember, they're building, for the general public, not your rifle. Now, you should see that's hitting. I just didn't set that all the way over there. There we go. Happens sometimes. So make sure you don't go pulling too hard. You'll damage the case. Push it back over. Anyhow, when I was talking about the charge weights and stuff, they're building for the normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill rifle. If you're built something custom like what I have, or you have something very high-end, a Barrett MRAD, a Steyr SSG, something super, super custom or more different. More different's not really the best term. Something more valuable than just your plain Jane Walmart or Sportsman's Remington 700 or Howa rifle, kind of like any of your Tikka rifles, because they're mass produced. There's a ton of them out there. That's what the reloading information is set up and directed for, is mass-produced everyday hunting type rifles. When you start doing anything ELR, PRS, those type of precision shooting events, you're gonna have to tailor, and that's where I was showing in the beginning towards the video of keeping data, which is called DOPE. That's your data upon last impact. Using DOPE, just besides doing your mil calculation or MOA for where the bullet went down range, is also keeping up with your reloading side of it. You constantly have to write down the information and say what's going on, what did you do, because literally a difference of 0.1 or 0.2 of a grain of powder, a different type of powder, a different primer, changes the outcome results of your reload. So there's a bunch of that to it. So as you see, going through it, burning through some of this in here. Let me see if anybody's going anything. Oh, kick this. Oh, a lot of revolvers. So this was really easy for me to jump into. Cool. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, Jonathan's talking about 357 Magnum and 44 Colt. Yep, this here is 300 Blackout that I'm playing with. I've got some that I built. These are some test ones. When I was talking about my precision stuff, this is my 308 improved, or more commonly known as 300 PRC. These are some casings and stuff that we're doing, playing with. Different bullet tips, different zones. I got to pull these apart because these were built and for testing on the big rifle for seating depths. So, all right, well, that's kind of a half hour into this. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to show a basic setup, see if anybody's more interested on this, you know, how to actually start and how to really go through this. You know, maybe I'll start working when I start loading up the 300 here, and I'll show you guys how to trim a case. Sadly, that video, if I go to do that, it probably will be noisy because once you start turning on some of these power tools, kind of hard. And when you do YouTube videos, to at least at this level, you know, to cancel out the noise. It's a machine, it turns on. Same thing goes for the tumbler. If you've ever tumbled rocks as a kid and did gemstones, it makes noise. So I very much recommend get a good tumbler, one that's got good rubber mounts, because it will make a bunch of noise, or put it in the garage. The case trimmer, it's no more loud than a drill, but it makes noise when you run it. But in understanding how to use one is very nice. There's videos and stuff out there, but when you start reloading and you're trying to do this all on your own and read it the first time, I kind of had a hard time finding that, you know, idiot's guide, you know, how to start, where to start, what do you do first? So that's kind of where I wanted to go with this and talk about it a little bit and show some of the components and things that you need and what I'm running. So as you can see what we talked, that's everything I've already got sized up since we've been on this video. And like I said, you don't need one of these. You don't need one of the big fancy scales. Hell, you don't even need one of those electronic scales. They literally have some that are old school, you know, been around since the 30s. They're called beam scales. You can do it all mechanically, or like a slide. If anybody remembers the old doctor's office that had the weight that you slid, and it says like 100 pounds, you stand on it, you move it over to 200, and then you got the other little scale that moves over for, you know, 5 to 10s. Big things that cost that if you're gonna get into reloading, I highly recommend to do. Once you find what powder, see, that's Vitavori, and there's your Hogden. Once you find a powder that works, one that you like, you know, buying a pound of it is, you know, anywhere from $30 to $50, you know, for the average stuff. Keeping this stored dry is a big thing. Keeping it into a room or a powder case. Same thing goes with primers. All of this stuff you have to be really, really careful with and keep it dry and keep it safe. Because if any type of moisture gets to it, it will damage it. Your casings you can clean up and keep going. As you can tell, I've even got another little data book for things I'm playing with. But buying that starts to be the expensive stuff. Buying heads, the actual lead, your bullet tips, isn't so bad. It's powder, and you'll be surprised how much powder you go through. So that much powder that I've got sitting up here, honestly, the CF Black, I did the numbers on it. A pound of it is supposedly, to my math calculation, should do about 500 rounds of subsonic. If I was going to do supers, it would probably do 200 rounds. This N56 or 565 that I have for my big rifle, that 1 pound jug builds about 60 shots. This one here builds about 70 for the same rifle. Now, that one that's hiding there, that 223, that builds about 90 shots for a rifle. And then that stuff, I never used enough of it to tell you, but you're probably talking in the 70 shots. So as you can tell, depending on what you're loading, 50 to, 100 shots is about a pound worth of powder. Primers go quick, the more you shoot. So buying a brick of it, that's 1,000 rounds. This is 1,000. That's what they look like in 100. For once, I am not advertising. I do not like these people very much, but I had to have these for this build. I only use this on my bigger build. Had a bad experience with CCI here earlier this year. But when you're buying, if you're going to really get into this, buying 1,000, you'd be surprised how fast that'll go. This right here is basically a range day. If you shoot 100 rounds of ammo, or you buy 2 boxes, that's how fast that goes. So you probably will end up buying more stuff than what you think. Let's see, Jonathan talks. Buy powder at a store if possible, no hazmat fee. Buying powder and primers online, then yes, you'll find out real quick. If you go to buy all this stuff online, because it's called hazardous material, basically it's an explosive because, hey, it's gunpowder and that's a percussion cap. They charge you, if it's $10 to ship it, they'll charge you $30 in hazmat fee. So shop around, do your due diligence when you go to buy powder and primers. Now, when you're going to go and buy heads, and let's see. Nope. Aha, here we go. When you buy heads, this stuff just shows up in the mail. You can buy it and it's, a couple bucks to ship it, or you do the whole, buy enough of it, they ship it for free. They don't do that with powder too often. So, having a good storage center, that's what this is to house all my reloading stuff. You're going to end up, if you get into this, you're going to end up with a bunch of extra tooling and pieces and parts. Make sure you have a big enough box to store it. Other good thing to have is a separator. That's what these boxes are. That one there is junk stuff that is not good anymore. You've really loaded it too much, or you stepped on it and you can't fix it. Then you have dirty, you have cleaned, you have sized, ready to reload, and then you have load. And that's what all these types of boxes start going in through. So it just starts adding up. Just like buying another pistol, got to get a different color, different model, different version of it. You're going to amass more and more stuff. Hence why I have that shelf, that bench, all of that down there, all the tools, and all of this stuff. And I'm sure I'm missing something. So it starts adding up pretty quick. And this is within a year, guys. Mid-South shooters down in Clarksville, Tennessee, they're always got it good for powder. You've got Brownells, you got Shields, you have Sportsman's Warehouse. Any of the anybody that sells components and pieces, nobody better than another one. Unknown Munitions sells powder. Trying to think of a couple other ones. Basically, whatever sports store, your local gun store, go to your local gun store and see if they're a reload center. See if that's something that they do, or ask there locally. Maybe at your local range they do reloading. I very much would tell you, just don't hop on the internet and just buy from the first place that you see. This is something you kind of got to look for. Make sure you don't get scammed, when it comes to buying these components, for some reason, everybody tries to do some of the scam stuff. Buy it from a reputable retailer, somebody that you've been to their store, that another reloader's bought from that you actually know. Like I said, I started off with Mid-South Shooter Supply. They do it. Power Valley, Mile High, our name brand stores, places I've done business with for years. You can go personally, go to your local, store, Academy, Sportsman's Warehouse, Bass Pro. They all have a reload area. You can find 90% of this stuff right there. Let's see. Yep, Midway sells too. That's correct. Let's see. Hold on. How about you guys talked a bunch and I don't have hazmat? I don't currently load bottleneck cartridges. Do you need a annealing? Extends. I had stated earlier for resources, people to help and watch. Ultimate Reloader, Gavin did a really good video the other day on, I think it's like 300 or 308 or it was 65 Creedmoor. He reloaded this stuff almost 100 times. If you don't anneal it, it only got like 20 shots. So I can tell you currently I'm on about 6 rounds of reload for that thing off of some Lopua brass. So the annealing just makes it better in truthfulness. And that's an Annealy's machine there. That's a Gen 2. Let's see. All right, let me catch up here on the comments for a second. Brunel's looking. Oh, there you go. Yep, Sportsman's Warehouse. I like them. Where I'm currently at now, I actually opened up one of their new stores and did a demo day inside. So I've always had decent luck with them. They're nice people. Yep, I'd rather drive 20 minutes than, and put $5 worth of gas on a car than pay the hazmat and have to wait on UPS or FedEx. James, are you planning doing? Yeah, that's right, James. That's kind of what the video is. If you catch it back from the beginning, if you guys would be interested in wanting like an actual step-by-step on setting everything up and how to start this off. Yep, is a big difference. Personally, network. Yep, man, I started one of these and for some reason it kind of kicked out and I had to restart the whole live video thing. So there was only like a 30-second quickie. And sounds like you want a full walkthrough. All right, well, starts hitting it. So if you guys will tell me in the comment sections or when this video gets posted and we're not doing live, you guys let me know. And it's something I'm going to look into instead of doing this off the phone side. You guys can see me or I'll scare you with my look. So if you guys are interested in me to do this, I'll get out the big camera and we'll set up and, I'll get the GoPro in the corner and we'll do an actual proper video for it. So, absolutely. So currently, I'll kind of let the joke out. I keep telling everybody I built 308 improved, which, hold on, just so everybody can have it. Yes, I actually even have the full diagram right here and show you. That's all the mathematics and everything else for it. The joke is 308 improved, and it's really 300 PRC. Now, I do bump my shoulder a bit different, and that's the top of the neck, and I do one or two things a bit different than the factory variant of 300 PRC. But the big rifle, which is, hold on, let me take this off so you guys can see this thing, and we'll go totally live and mobile and do the whole shaky thing. So, that way everybody knows it's not a joke. See, it says 300 PRC, but that's the quick that I built. And that's the big King rifle. That's my new one for this upcoming year. But I joke and tease and tell everybody it's 300 308 improved, because it's 308 and it's just on a Magnum. And I do a couple things with it. I currently have a load build using a 225 that will run just short of 3,100 feet per second. And I've taken it out to a mile so far. Pretty accurate. So there's that. I'm liking 245 burgers. That seems to be doing the best right now. And March, our season will start, and then I'll get to know how far and how precise it goes. I did post a little video, a little short clip here a couple weeks ago, or probably a month ago. Now, I did shoot some 230 A-tips out of it at Camp Atterbury in Indiana at the military base for an event, and went just short of a mile. The very first time ever shooting the rifle. Like, besides getting a quick load development, when I mean shoot a rifle, I mean actually shoot for distance. It went 4 out of 5 at 1660, 1680, and it was super impressive. I mean, it just drilled the target. I mean, no different than shooting 200-300 yards. It was precise. So I'm getting to do a little bit more training, about 600 rounds on this one, and we'll see what it does, and we'll see what I do for 2025 here for King of 1 Mile. Late fail. All right, James. Well, you have to go back, kind of catch it from the beginning. I've done some basic reloading. Well, Matt, I will tell you, man, I am not an expert on this. There's definitely a lot more people smarter than me, and you can find them. Hold on, this way and backwards. YouTube, like I said, Gavin at Ultimate Reloader has got a ton of great information. He's now at a level, I think, that some people when they're first starting may be a bit intimidated. It took me a minute to understand what he was talking about in the terms. And I think kind of going back and just, where to start and how to start would be a really good one. So that's kind of where I was thinking about doing a whole reload episode or a couple of them and just start. So someone that has no idea what any of the terms are, what the tools are, what they're looking for, literally we can do a whole follow along and hop online, or, you can go look it up yourself, and then you can understand what you're looking at. So that's what I was thinking. So here, I'll go over. You guys can kind of see the table here. Turn this thing around. There's the annealing machine. There's some cool videos of me playing with this. They're in the shorts. And then, like I said, that is a RCBS Charge Master. I would tell you guys, when you start looking at some of this stuff, the simpler that you can make it, the easier it is on the pocketbook and the easier it is on the brain. Okay? You don't need a ton of super fancy equipment to do this. Some of the fancy equipment makes it nice, but you don't need the fancy equipment to actually get the job done. So, alrighty, y'all. Well, I got to get into this because we're heading to the range tomorrow, and I've got to get most of that loaded to do some testing so I can fill out this number page and see what we're going to do. So, just to give you an idea, it's for the AUG, and there's the AUG with all the fun stuff. That's the Heresy AUG with a 300 blackout barrel. That's another barrel we won't talk about. So there's that system. So actually, hold on, let me take that back. That is an additional 300 blackout barrel. So I guess we can talk about it. I've got the fun barrel in there. Okay, so there's that side, but we're going to be shooting that in 300 blackout tomorrow. But hopping over here, when I was talking to you guys on trim, I need to go through and check all this brass for the overall, from the very bottom to the very top, is got to be within these two numbers. Okay, if not, you have to trim down the case. Then we're going to go, and once it's trimmed and it's the correct size and it's been through the die and the die has resized it, that's going to tell you what, hold on, we're not going to do that. We're going to get down here lower so I can show you the neck right here. You see this one's got a little bitty neck right there. That's going to tell us what it is from the base to the neck. And then that will fill out that number so I can data log it. We're going to be shooting this bullet. This tells you the coefficients, basically how good the aerodynamic is of the bullet. The overall length of what the case and the bullet should fall somewhere in that number, and that's going to tell me when it loads into the rifle, and we'll have to check headspace. Like I said, there's a lot of terms that come in. We got to check headspace and make sure that it's going to chamber correctly, so you don't blow yourself up or have a case half stuck out the breech, or not, or it goes too far. Then we're going to get in. These are our powder loads. That's the powder that we're using. I have grains and grams. We'll get our velocities. We'll get our overall full out, where it actually falls, somewhere within 30 thousandths of an inch. Our SD is our standard deviation. This will be our ES, is an extreme spread. And then we were going to log the temperature and the humidity of the day that you shoot. This all plays a factor into how good the ammo is. So, like I said, there's a bunch of math, there's terms, and for the new person, understanding what the terms are and having the guide to it will help tremendously. So that's what I'm hoping to explain to people, and for a new person to understand. So yep. So all right, man. Well, appreciate that one. Yep, that's right, James. Yeah, not cheap. So good reloading center, just as I end this video. If you guys hop on there, like I said, you want to look for a press. Okay, you're going to need a good press. I like this one. There's better ones. There's worse ones. This is the one that I bought and paid for. So if you want to look for an RCBS Rebel, I think they're like $250 or so. You can find them online. Go right over to RCBS and look at them. You get this whole piece of green and the handle. Okay. Dies, you buy good quality die. Okay. I personally don't like Hornady. I like the RCBS dies. They work better. There's a whole thing to talk about dies, but just real simple. Start with RCBS dies, okay? There are two types of dies. You have your standard die, and then you have a see, I'm having a brain fart for it. A bushing die, okay? You're going to have dies that come with 2, or you're going to have dies that come with 3 of the components. Okay, let me show you over here. See, it's got room for 3, but this is a 2-piece die, okay? That's a cedar, and it even says cedar. Hold on. Yep, blackout cedar. And then this is your forming die, okay? This is the one that actually shapes the brass back into shape. That's the kind that I like. Bushing dies are a whole different thing. That's literally a whole video on frickin' dies. Okay? Dies are going to cost you anywhere from $30 to $200. And there's a couple different versions, but I like the 2-piece. You need a good scale, and you can use a beam scale or the electronic one. And that will get you started beside your components. So the actual hard stuff, you should be able to start reloading for about $500. So if you kind of want an idea when you see this video, about $500 to start. The stuff I told you, you don't have to have one of these. You do need a clean the wrap. Okay, you don't want to do it by hand. It takes way $50-$60 and get yourself a cleaner. The material, the compound or the corn cob stuff that goes in here is super cheap. It's like $10-$15. So there you go. Okay. Lubrication, about $7. You need lube. Okay, you have to have lube. You can get, well, I stole a muffin pan out of the kitchen. Clean it before you cook muffins. You don't have to have an annealing machine, but it's nice. Okay, when it comes over, you can literally do the dispensing with a hand dispenser and a scale if you want to go this route. I like to be lazy. That worked better. You need a funnel kit to put the powder from there. It goes in here and goes into the brass. And then you just need to buy components. And then buying components, that's where the money's at. So, hey, what's up, Hootie Hoo? Man, maybe you and I should get together and do this video. I know you do a ton of reloading. All right, I'm going to go through this comment real quick. And I have equipment for years. Yep, so there you go, James. Yeah, about $380. Actually, I think I got that one on sale last year for like $200 or something. I think it was a special. So, well, hey guys, if you haven't met him before or you don't know his channel, Mr. Hootie Hoo is in here. He's an awesome guy who does a ton of budget build stuff. Like, I shoot some fancy stuff. He likes the budget, easy, everyday stuff, and he is super good at what he does. So he's in here, and he's actually somebody I've even talked to about reloading before. Him and a few of his friends. So, all right, guys. Well, that's it. We'll be hitting the range on the 8th of February. So I'll bring you some range day footage and some stuff up here from Longshot. So got the target camera system up here, and we'll be shooting it and shooting this blackout ammo that we're going to build today. So that's what we're going to be doing here in a couple weeks. All right. So, all right, y'all. Have a good evening. Enjoy the weekend. Hope everybody's warm. Don't play in the snow too much. Have a good one. Catch y'all later.